We are in Milan, which is an amazing city, and we are in front of the Duomo, which is the Cathedral of Milan, and really important for my purposes and for the purposes of the novel, because it was basically a monument to the Sforza family. It was built by Caterina's father and lots of other people. It was built over centuries, but it's really, you can see this facade is just phenomenal and ornate and just so beautiful. And we're going to take you inside later, but first we wanted you to see this incredible scene on the piazza. We did not expect there to be 3 billion people here, and there are. It's incredible. It's more crowded than I've ever seen Rome, or certainly Florence, where we came from, which was nice and quiet and artsy. Sometimes in Florence we were the only people on the street. Now we're not the only people on the street. This is unbelievable. It's very exciting. You hear all different languages and everyone's eating and talking and laughing and having a great time. Wow. This is really something to see. So we thought that you should see this. City life in Milan. Oh, wow. Oh my God. I love that trailer music so much. Now I've just realized, because I was so distracted by the dog, that I kind of didn't set up what's going on here. Now I know I see a lot of you have been here before, but some of you haven't. So I'll just tell you briefly what we're doing, because we're talking about what's behind my new novel, The Unraveling of Julia, right? And it takes place in Tuscany and also in Milan. So I went there for research. And what these videos do is to kind of show you why I wrote the book I did. And the interesting thing for our purposes today is that this book was really inspired by that cathedral. Now, it's such an idiotic video in a way, because I spent so much time talking about how busy it is. And when I look at it now, I'm like, Lisa, it's not that crowded. Like, you just need to get out a little more. But that day, I remember going, look at all these people. But then I started to soak up the cathedral itself. Not only, like someone just said, she just got chills. I mean, and Susie, thank you for pre-ordering. You're so nice. When we walked in there, you see, we couldn't talk. But like, first off, this is the largest cathedral in Italy, excluding St. Peter's, which is in Vatican City, so technically not Italy. It is immense when you're inside it. And obviously, even I could not yak away inside the cathedral. But it's so beautiful. You see, it has that majesty. It has art hanging everywhere. You saw oil paintings, right? The ceiling is huge. And the outside, what that cathedral is known for is actually a really perfect example of Gothic architecture. And that's what we're going to talk about today, Gothic. What does Gothic mean? And why does it matter? Here is this same cathedral. I'll hold it so you can see it. At night. This is what it looks like at night. They light it up, and I put this in the novel, because here it is. It's a bright, bright white, and all around it becomes dark. And after a while, all of the people, and the people in the piazza, it grows and grows. More and more and more people come, because it's nighttime. They're off work. A lot of people are partying. A lot of people are tourists. And you see these shifting shadows in front of the white. And I said, God, I wish we could go up higher in it. And it turns out there's a tour. Anyway, to keep this story short, people are asking who went with you. The amazing Laura my bestie friend from 30 years, right? Laura Leonard, if you've been to my house for the book club party, you've met her. So we go there. And we're not even sure how to get inside, and all the signs are in Italian. We didn't buy the tickets. This is how we roll. And bottom line is, we get in a line, we get the tickets, and we're going to go. They're saying, like, well, you can go up and see higher in the cathedral, which is kind of just what we want. Well, before we know it, we find ourselves in these. This structure was started, I think, in 1200. Gothic is the period that goes from about 1300 to 1600. So that's the era we're talking about, medieval through the Renaissance. So what is Gothic? And when I was inside the cathedral, I came to understand it. And it's what we did, which is we found ourselves in these little passageways, dark. There's no light. Big enough because they can't retrofit everything, and you find yourself, you're going on the tour. I'm like, okay, they're going to take you to the top. Meanwhile, I start to get higher and higher on these little steps. You can't turn around, and worse, you can't go back because I'm afraid of heights. And I'm starting to go, what did I get myself into? Like, I like my job, but this is crazy. And so we're going up these little passageways and higher and higher and higher and higher, and we're getting tired, but also it's getting dark. Maybe there's a little pitch light. The walls are smooth marble. It's cold because there's no sun that gets through, and you feel like Gothic. Now, technically, what Gothic refers to this elaborateness of design. These spiky towers, you see them at Notre Dame too. They have something called finials at the edge. They're decorative. And anyway, what I'm saying to you is what happened is we follow these passages this way, that way, winding around staircases where you have to hold on to the side so you don't fall. I'm like, holy God. You pop out. I think we're going to pop out on some platform. We don't. We pop out on the roof. It turns out we got in the tour. It's not even a tour. I don't want to call it a tour. It's walk around and try not to fall. Because this lets you walk on the roof of this super, super high, tall, I should know how tall that is, but I don't, cathedral. And when I tell you I'm walking on the roof, I don't mean a flat roof like you in the city. It's a pitched roof. This is the view. Laura took these pictures because I was clinging to the side of the cathedral, praying to a God I should speak to more often, right? This is what it looks like. You are walking on the roof. It's steep like this. You're standing like this. No American lawyer would have ever let anybody walk on this thing. It is liability on a stick. It has these elaborate ends. It has ones like this, and I realize this is a little weird looking, but in any event, spiky things like a sand castle. Look how elaborate it is, and there's statues on them. Can you see that? The statue. And all along, gargoyles, spooky things, weird things. And I started to, besides the fact that I had read and understood, okay, you can see this. It was almost like, I can't even tell which is up and down. It was like walking, this drawings by Escher, where you walk one way and then you walk the other way. Roof walking is an extreme sport, right, Edie? And here's one step and then you go that way and you go that way. And you have no idea where you're going. You pass like the people that you just saw. But it gave me the feeling of Gothic because while here's another view, you're just walking on a roof and you can't not go. Along the way, you see gargoyles, but you'll see some things that are beautiful like this. I mean, just gorgeous, angels, putti. Here we are walking up, look how steep it is. This is really, really steep, all the way to the top of this crazy, incredible cathedral built by the Sforza family, by the Duke of Milan. There's some scaffolding. They were doing some fixing work. But you see how high up you are. You actually are doing this. And I said, this is so fascinating. Because you can read in a guidebook that it's Gothic cathedral, but you don't understand what that feels like until you are walking on a passageway, going forward, driven to see what you're going to want to see, at the same time, scared by what you're going to see because it's scary. And at the same time, there's no turning back. You are on this road and it is take you. And I said, I want to it sounds so eerie, Laura said. I want that atmospheric feeling. I want, when I'm writing it, to feel like spooky, scary, twisty, turny, can't stop turning the pages. Where am I going? There's an instability. Now, to segue for a minute and talk about what is Gothic literature, because I was really with The Unraveling of Julia. It's a psychological thriller set in the current day. But as I said in the last session, it also was inspired by Caterina Sforza, the Duke of Milan's daughter. This is a picture of her. And she was the most prominent woman ruler, in fact, the only woman ruler during the Renaissance, and a Renaissance woman in every way. And I said, how can I meld these into a Gothic novel? And the cool thing about a Gothic novel, it's kind of tailor-made for me, because I've been writing female leads who are strong and feisty and brave and stronger than they think, but also lose their way and then find it again all my life. 36 books now. So I said, okay, that's right about somebody who is in trouble, a woman in trouble, a modern woman, but try to make it a modern Gothic. A Gothic element will always have a female lead. Think like Rebecca, the movie Rebecca, or the book, which is such a fantastic, fantastic book, right? There's always a spooky element. Oh, she marries this guy. He's a little weird. There's Mrs. Danvers. She's weird. There's a big spooky house. There's passageways that no one goes in. There's doors that are locked and you can't unlock them. There's dungeons. There's castles. These are all Gothic elements. They're also, by the way, symbolic. You're losing your way in forests and passages. And it tends to, and there's combines this feeling of eeriness. Why? Partly because it wants to create the feeling of being haunted. A real arch Gothic novel will give you that feeling of being haunted. Now, you could be haunted by a ghost, per se, or you could be haunted by something else. You could be haunted by your past. I myself, I'm haunted by ex-husbands, but that's another matter. You know, that's the feeling that I wanted to get in this book. That this woman, when the book starts, and I won't tell you too much now because I just wanted to talk about how it's Gothic and why The Unruling of Julia is a Gothic novel and what that means. Because I don't want you to go, oh, I don't like that. I don't know what that is, or I think I know what that is. It means you wear dark makeup. But it doesn't. It means that there's a woman at the center of the novel who finds herself tested in a way she never has before. And at some point between the castles and the dungeons and the passageways and that eerie feeling she gets from time to time, she is going to lose her way. And often in the female Gothic, the character and the main character is looking for a mother. She's looking for a lost family member, usually a mother. Evie, come here. Evie, you want a treat? Now you see how I grab her. And that's what I really wanted to have. So basically, the top line of this story is, come here, Eve, Eve. I was going to say, a girl who lives in Philadelphia, one day is walking along and has a premonition. Eve, come here. At that moment, she knows something terrible is about to happen, and her husband is killed during a mugging right on the street in front of her. She spins into a heart. Come on, come here, come on. Goes into a horrible, horrible depression and grief, which is something we're all familiar with. And during that time, briefly put, she gets a letter. It says, guess what? You have inherited a villa in Tuscany and a fortune, and it was left to you by a woman named Aurelia Rossi. And our girl, who's named Julia, get it, The Unraveling of Julia, has no idea who that is. She has no idea. It's a total stranger. So that is classic Gothic territory. And it's also, I like to say, the kind of stuff, can I just say Scottolini territory? Because I've written all these mysteries and thrillers with really strong women at the center. And here she is in a different kind of, you her crying, she's so cute. And different kind of problem. And she goes there and she's trying to find out who is this woman who left her this estate. And she finds out the woman was obsessed with Caterina Sforza and thought that she was a direct descendant of this Renaissance leader. I'm not going to tell you what happens next this session, but it's really twisty-turny and psychologically confusing and disorienting. She begins to have dreams. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the bottom line is, this woman, Julia, finds herself in the middle of a mystery. The mystery is about where the money is coming from. The mystery is who she is. The mystery is about her own identity and her own family. And it terribly destabilizes her and almost, well, it almost kills her. And she has to find her way out and solve it. And she also falls in love with a hottie. Because why are you going to go to Italy if you're not going to fall in love with a hottie? I digress. That part, that is actually Gothic because it's traditional Gothic has elements of mystery, thriller, and romance, right? Rebecca is like that and all swirled up together. It's a big book, and part of what inspired me, not just the eeriness of that cathedral, but its size, its majesty. I was like, Lisa, you've been practicing for 35 years and 35 books. Maybe you can try to take this on. And so that's what I did. And so that's where it's coming from. So now hopefully you learned something about Gothic architecture, Gothic novels, and how it ties in to the inspiration behind this book. That's the little speech for tonight. Now, what do we do now? We do quotes. I sent out copies of this, and I was very, very happy that it was so well received. And I got a wonderful quote by Marie Benedict, who wrote The Queens of Crime. I loved this book. She's a wonderful, wonderful writer. And actually, this is about a lot of female sleuths like Agatha Christie and Dorothy Sayers. And just, it's really, really terrific. And again, sort of continuing our theme of really strong women who figure things out on their own and are all a little stronger than they think, like us and like little Eve. I kind of love that she's feisty. I don't want a namby-pamby dog. I want a dog that has a little bit of a spitfire. Anyway, this is what Marie Benedict said about The Unraveling of Julia. A page-turning exploration into love, loss, forces larger than ourselves, and the way in which our own pasts and our ancestors' history resonate into our present. That's what I was going for. I'm sorry, honey, I scared her. The Unraveling of Julia has all the hallmarks of the very best Lisa Scottolini novels, yet is also something spectacularly new. And that's what I was going for too, because I love what I do, but I always want to expand that a little bit, not much, but a little bit, so that you are not bored and so that I'm not bored. She says, I literally could not put down this brilliant Gothic tale. She got it. That takes readers into sumptuous Tuscany and Renaissance Italy and has us questioning the past as we sit on the edge of our seats. This might be my favorite Lisa Scottolini book yet, and that's saying a lot. Thank you, Marie Benedict, author of so many wonderful novels and The Queens of Crime. I really am so touched by that and really, really honored. And it is what I was going for. So, and I also love how we women authors help each other. We men do it too. I just love when authors are cooperative because we all love to read. And people say, who do you recommend? And I'm going to say people like Marie Benedict because I love her work as well. But you guys, thank you very, very much for your kindness to me and your support. And I'll see you next Monday night. I love you guys. Take care.